Welcome to the Erasmus Foundation podcast. My name is Paul Nugent. Are you looking for answers to life and its meaning? Then this may well be the very podcast you need to listen to. In a series of podcasts, we are going to look at the difficult questions of life and apply spiritual knowledge to find out the answers. Hello. Today we are going to talk about world order. And with me to discuss this today is Bedina from Spirit. So greetings, Bedina.
Greetings.
So first question, how is this world really governed?
Well, in a sense, it is governed by man to a degree because he is responsible for its state of health, which is not good at present. But in reality, the truth is that your planet is governed by the One, the Great Mind, and only the Great Mind. He has it all in his control. He has created a collective tapestry which really designs the structure of your world spiritually, not physically, spiritually. But of course, it does affect the world physically as well. And of course, like the individual tapestries, for each individual person living upon the earth, there is a main structure to the life, and within that are freedoms of choice, which collectively man chooses. Not a great number, but nonetheless, they are there.
Now, this is Spirit's view on how the world is governed, but what would you say man believes is the way it is governed?
Well, of course, many people within the earth, many do not believe in a God or have perhaps some acceptance that there is something, which is good. That is good. But overall, the main impression that people give is that they believe your world is maintained by the activities of people, by governments, and collectively by the whole. And that is true to a degree. Man is responsible for a lot of the damage and the imbalance within the earth, causing it to be sick. Man is responsible for that. That is so. But the overall control is still within the hands of the Great Mind.
So we can say, can't we, that the world has, as you say, reached a certain stage in its existence, that man has done an awful lot of damage upon it because of the way he is and the way he behaves. So how should the world be governed? How should it be, Bedina?
It should be governed by man having an appreciation of the natural law, which is the law that governs the universe. created and designed by the great mind. Man should have an appreciation of the natural law, above all, which is governed by truth. And this is something that, generally speaking, many people do not value upon the earth. It is seen as really not that important. Some people think it is necessary to lie, to give falsehood at times, because they think that makes a situation better. But in reality, in all truth, and I must give truth, it does not. Falsehood is ugly. It is damaging. It is destructive. And it has no benefit whatsoever. So that is a misconception that man must come to realize and put in the way it should be, that truth is offered at all times, no matter the consequence, no matter the situation.
Thank you, Bedina. Now we can ask the question, has it been in order in the past, or has it always been in this state of flux, shall we say?
No, no. In the past, in other civilizations, your world has been in a much healthier, more spiritual manner. And it has been in balance, which has been good. But this being your fifth civilization, it has become so out of balance, so different to any time before. And your world has never been so vulnerable, so damaged as it is at present. And it is fortunate for mankind and for us spirits at home in spirit that the great mind has seen in his wisdom to maintain the continuation of the life of your planet, which, given the option to mankind, would have destroyed it a long time ago.
So the world, Bedina, as we, as anyone really that has any sensitivity or observational skills, will realize the Earth is in a pretty dire state. And we know that the great mind, with a wave of his hand, could correct it if he wished. But he wants man to sort out the problem, for man to mature enough to be able to rectify the mistakes he's made. So what does man need to do to be able to achieve this?
First and foremost, he must look to himself. Every single individual needs to look at their own self to have a better appreciation through a self-inspection, self-analysis, to come to understand and know oneself better. And by this means, then people would learn to be more in balance within themselves. And then, by this means, the world will come back into balance itself. But it means that man must work upon himself first. Very simple. Although it is very simple. If man collectively, all over your planet, was to do this, it would put the world back into health quite immediately. Will that happen? We shall see.
It seems, from my point of view, that man at the moment is struggling to do this. And it seems to get worse by the year. Now, I assume, well, I know that you've told me many times that the complete destruction of the earth was not to happen. But in our hands, it would happen, I'm sure. So the great mind is having to intervene, I'm guessing, at this point.
By the design of the collective tapestry.
Right.
That design, that structure, maintains the earth according to how it should be, in the will of the great mind. So that collectively, man may be doing much to cause damage to his planet. But man will suffer the consequence of this behavior, this attitude, as he is already finding. Man is causing the increase in global temperature. Your weather has changed. It is acting in bizarre ways. There are other fruits of mankind's behavior which are causing disease and other problems across your world, affecting all creatures, not just man, which is very, very sad. So we are all waiting for man to correct all this, which some are trying to do, and that is good. And it may be that events upon your earth will eventually force the situation to be rectified, not by the hands of man, but by the will of nature. And by this means, then perhaps the world will be saved and put into balance. But at what cost?
Yes, indeed. So we're expecting difficult times ahead, Bedina. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, unfortunately, that is so. As indeed, those times have already started with the spread of disease happening more and more. This is not coincidence, because that does not exist. It is not by chance these things are happening, as some people might think. The disease and many forms of disease are occurring more and more as a direct result of what man has done to the environment of his planet. That is the direct cause of these diseases. In many civilizations in the past, many times before, and other places, mankind did not face disease like he does at this time. Many of these diseases that you have, they were there, but they were dormant. They did not happen to people because the people lived a more balanced life. But the consequence of such an imbalance in people's behavior, people's way of life, people's attitude, all of this is causing damage. And therefore, there must be a consequence to what man has been doing. It is a simple law of nature, cause and effect.
So we have some dark times ahead of us, Bedina, but I'm sure that one day we'll come out of that dark cloud and the
Oh,
future
indeed.
would be brighter, I hope. And what would a
Yes.
future world order be, would you say?
Well, the day must follow the night. And the future for your earth is extremely beautiful. This I can promise you. I have seen it. And it is more beautiful than I could have imagined. But that is for the future. And man has got to go through these difficulties to learn and to learn how to put this right so that people in the future coming from spirit to live upon your planet for the purpose within the university of life to learn and by this means to evolve spiritually. All of that will be made available in a planet full of beauty, wonder, and far more spiritual awareness and knowledge than exists upon your earth at this time, but with also far greater scientific development, greater awareness in many ways, which will benefit mankind and have far reaching effects for spirit as well. That is the future.
Well, that sounds something to look forward to for our future residents on this planet, shall we say. So, Bedina, we are coming to the end of our podcast yet again. And it's been an interesting one, of course. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close for the day?
Only to say, because the great mind does have control and his own form of order within your world, that through his will, your earth is to go forward in the way that is meant, the way I have described, but man has got to do a lot of work on himself. That, if anything, would be the message I would like to leave for anyone wishing to listen to this.
Thank you very much, Belina. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Erasmus Foundation is a spiritual teaching and healing foundation based in Laxfield, Suffolk, in the United Kingdom. We have a webpage, www.erasmus-foundation.org. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, or indeed have further questions for us, then please contact me on paul@erasmus-foundation.org, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. Thank you very much for listening.